హలో హలో అనిల్
మేడం ఒక 2 మినిట్స్ మేడం.
నాన్న కేశవరెడ్డి సార్ వచ్చారు.
ఓకే మేడం, నేను హోస్ట్ ఇస్తాను మేడం సార్కి. ఓకే సార్, ఓకే సార్ అయితే.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Keshav sir. Keshav sir. Hello. Keshav sir. సార్ ఏమా వినిపిస్తున్నట్లేదు సార్ది. మ్యూట్
సార్ అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోవాలి మేడం.
అదే అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకున్నారు. అదే ఇంకా టైం ఉందని పెట్టినట్టున్నారు. చూద్దాం. Sir, good afternoon, sir. Keshav sir. Keshav sir. మైకి కనిపించింది ఒకసారి. మైకి కనిపించింది
మేడం, మీరు ఒకసారి సార్తో కాల్ మాట్లాడండి.
చేస్తున్నాను సార్కి చేస్తున్నా. అదే సార్ సౌండ్ రావట్లేదు సార్. हेलो सर, केशव रेड्डी सर। हेलो हेलो। ఒకసారి చేసిన కోపం లేదు. మీకు వినిపిస్తుందా లేదా?
కాల్ చేసిన వ్యక్తి
వాట్సాప్ లో
Hello, Sir Keshav Reddy, sir. Hello.
I am audible?
Sir, yes, sir. Now audible, sir.
Okay, I am audible now?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, can you increase volume, sir?
Yeah,
Little bit.
please, just a minute. Now it's okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, shall I start the session, sir?
Yeah, why not? Sure, please.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Good afternoon to all. Respected dignitaries, Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, respected Registrar Sir, In-charge Principal, Professor T. Vasan, In-charge Principal, and our Coordinator, Head of the Department, Professor T. Vasanthi Madam, today's Resource Person, Professor Keshav Reddy Sir, Convener Sridhar Babu Sir, Sunita Madam, Members Katyani and Srinivasal Reddy Sir, and my dear participants. I, on behalf of my team, welcome you all to this fourth day of 1 week virtual international lecture workshop on new advances in mathematical and computational sciences, and take this opportunity to introduce today's speaker, President APTSMS Professor E. Keshav Reddy Sir. Good afternoon, Keshav Reddy Sir.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I take this opportunity to introduce Sir. Sir completed his graduation, master's, and doctoral degree from Banaras University. Sir is present Professor of Mathematics, JNTU Anantapur College of Engineering. Sir served many positions like Controller of Examinations, Honorary Associate Professor. Sir published 84 papers in various national and international journals. Sir has delivered 60 invited talks in various national and international seminars and conferences. Sir authored books, 11 books on engineering mathematics, mathematical methods, probability and statistics, and Sir created online courses in Moodle Cloud. Sir received Andhra Pradesh Scientist Award for the year 2020 for the contribution and achievement in the field of mathematics. He conferred upon National Integration Award, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana State, sponsored by Healthcare International. Sir received IST Award of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana State Best Engineering Teacher. Sir conferred upon the Distinguished Scientist, Andhra Pradesh State Best Teacher Award. Sir received National Award of Excellence, and he included in Famous India, Nations Who is Who. Also, Sir had memberships. He is a life member of Andhra Pradesh Society of Mathematical Sciences, Indian Mathematical Society, Ramanujam Mathematical Society, Calcutta Mathematical Society, Indian Science Congress, and Indian Science Congress Association. Sir is a member of editorial board, and he referred research journals. Some among them are: he is a member editorial board for American Journal of Mathematical and Computer Modeling, Science PG, Science Publishing Group, USA. He is a member of the editorial board, Research Publication Press, Chronicle Journal of Engineering Science, Glacier Journal of Scientific Research, International Journal of Advanced Research in Innovative Discoveries in Engineering and Application, International Center of Excellence in Engineering and Technology, Research Journal of Engineering and Technology, Journal of Engineering and Applied Mathematics. With this cue, I request Sir to start the session. Thank you, sir. Sir? Keshav Reddy, sir. Sir,
Yes.
you can start the session, sir.
Okay, fine. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Yeah, please. So I share my screen. I am audible.
You are audible, sir, but screen is not shared,
Yeah,
sir.
no, I will share it. I will share my screen. Shared, visible?
Yes, sir. Shared. Visible, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. It's okay, visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Fine. So now, so good afternoon to all of you. I am Professor Keshav Reddy. Now today's talk is application of statistics and linear algebra for data science. Actually, what is data science and why we are going to say why I speak on data science, because the mathematics and statistics plays a very important role now these days, because the total world is going to be depend on the data. So data science is the field of study that combines domain expertise, programming skills, and knowledge of mathematics and statistics to extract meaningful insights from data. In turn, these systems generate insights which analysts and business users can translate into tangible business value. So, therefore, what we have done, we have taken as a data science this. Yeah, please. Yeah. So, therefore, the today's topic I have chosen that application of mathematics and statistics, because the mathematics and statistics play a key role in the data science, what the computer science people are doing. So here we have to analyze the data and we can see a total part, total thing, visualize the total truth and total, what you say, fairness when the data is available, when you analyze the data. So statistics for data science we will see. In this one, the overview, what I'm going to speak is introduction to statistics, most importance of statistics, understanding variable types, descriptive versus inference statistics, that we will see here. So introduction of statistics means science of learning from data. Learning from data is a very important, it's a new science, what you say. If you see now these days, the engineering colleges, they are going to put it as computer science and engineering in bracket data science. And the total seats of data science is going to be filled. What is that one? Whether they know or not, that God knows. But data science, yes, they are going to fill. How many teachers are there? How many learners are there? What are the expertise of that one? Irrespective of that one, now these days, they're going towards that one. But the thing is, this is the right time for the mathematician and statistician to learn about this one and to go in the expertise of this data science. So science of learning from data. Data, what you say, data collection is a methodology process. The next point is methodological data collection, employ correct data analysis, presenting analysis effectively. Opposite to statistics is accidental evidence. What I am going to say here, data collection is a methodological process of gathering and analyzing specific information to proffer solution to relevant questions and evaluate the results. It focuses on finding all there it is to a particular subject matter. Okay, so more importantly, there is not one right way to analyze data. Depending on your needs and type of data you collect, the right data analysis methodology is there. There should be one methodology and will shift. This also makes it necessary to understand each type of data and which methodology can deliver the best results. That methodology we have to adopt it. Even so, there are some common techniques that come included in most data analytics software because they are effective. These 5 data analysis methods can help you create more valuable and actionable insights. That is the point what the data does. What we are going to see here, make sure your data can be seen. That is the important point. Focus most on the points your data illustrates. Share one and only one major point from each chart. Label chart component clearly. Visually highlight what are the things you want to highlight. Write a slide title that reinforce the data points. Present to your audience, not to your data. That is the main point here, what we are going to see. And the last point, what you are going to see, the opposite to statistics is anecdotal evidence. What is that one? It's a factual claim relying only on personal observation. Collecting is a casual or non-systematic manner, but this data science or data part is factual claim relying only on personal observation, not on any other thing. So we are going to analyze, we are going to see what is our perception and what we are going to see in the data. That is the total thing what we are going to see in data. And another antecedent evidence, however, does not qualify as scientific evidence because its nature prevents it from being investigated by the scientific method. Therefore, this is the introduction part, and the importance is avoid getting biased samples. So when we study on the data, we are going impossible to study it because the data is a very huge data. So what we are going to say, we are going to see about the samples, we are going to study about the samples, and we are going to forecast that this samples can be generalized, this sample can be put it to the total data. So avoid getting biased data. If biased data is there, the total study will be wrong. Prevent overgeneralization. So don't go for overgeneralization. Generalization is okay, but some people goes for the overgeneralization and the total part is going to be collapsed. Wrong casualties, incorrect analysis applied to any domain. This should not be happen in this one. So what is that? What we are going to say, I can give a best example. Prevent overgeneralization means, for example, now these days when we say, so this is the people, those who are going to do like this, and if I'm going to overgeneralize that the total country people are doing like this, then it will be say as overgeneralization, because we have to see the weather, culture, part, latitude, longitude. So this everything we are going to consider, and then we are going to forecast. So overgeneralization we have to prevent. Casualties, wrong casualties cannot be permitted in this one. Incorrect analysis means if correct analysis is there, okay, fine. Incorrect analysis is going to make a wrong thing. Apply to any domain. It can't be applied to any domain. You say that this can be applied to any domain. No. So we can apply in any domain, but the total basic things, the total whatever assumptions is going to be changed, including the samples. So these are the things what we are going to see here. And variables, when we say explanatory, what is explanatory? Predictor or independent, whether it is predictor or independent. So explanatory data analysis, explanatory data focuses on all the parts of context, mainly the why and how. An outcome can be statistically calculated, modeled, or visualized to tell you the likelihood of certain events based on preconceived variables. So, explanatory means data. The explanatory part of the data analytics focuses on all the parts of context, mainly the why and how. An outcome can be statistically calculated, modeled, or visualized to tell you the likelihood of certain events based on preconceived variables. When we say response, outcome, or independent, the response is totally depend on the explanatory and by the assumptions. A variable can serve as independent in one study and dependent on the other study. When I say there is a independent and dependent type of variables, so one variable can be dependent in one case, but the same variable can be independent in the other case. So this type of things, variables, we behave. Therefore, the beauty of this data science is the variable is going to be changed according to what you say, the need. Once here at one part the data may be dependent, and but in other case it may be a independent data in that one. So this type of thing we are going to see in this variables part, and data types of variables, quantitative versus qualitative. Now quantitative means numerical data, for example, weight, temperature, number, project, like that. Or you can say quantitative data are used when a researcher is trying to qualify a problem or address the what or how many aspects of a research questions. Qualitative data, when we go to the qualitative data, it is non-numerical. How the qualitative data is there? Describes qualities or characteristics. Qualities or characteristics. It is collected using questionnaires, interviews, observation, frequently appeared in narrative forms. Like that we are going to collect. So quantitative means when a researcher is trying to quantify a problem. For example, numerical data, example weight, temperature, number, project. Qualitative means characteristics. Data describes qualities or characteristics. It is collected using questionnaires. So this is the difference between quantitative and qualitative, but these two are also very important when we go in this data science. Types of quantitative variables, again you can see this that is continuous type of thing, and you can see as discrete type of variables. So continuous means any numerical value, for example, square feet. Discrete means count of the presence of characteristics. Results item 1, 2, 3. Between 1 and 2, there is a gap. So discrete. Or activity. Example, floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. So this type of variables comes in this one. So continuous variable, discrete variable in quantitative. Okay. Now, when we say qualitative data comes categorical or nominal. For example, department, sales, research and development, RD, etc. Binary means left, that is 1 or 0. Ordinal, example, low, medium, high, like this. This is qualitative. So there is the difference between qualitative and quantitative. So qualitative data category is like this, we used in the data science. Type of statistical analysis, descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics describes about the data. For example, we use a tool, central tendency, data distribution, skewness. So descriptive statistics are brief descriptive coefficients that summarize a given data set, which can be either a representation of the entire or a sample of a population. Descriptive statistics are broken down into measures of central tendency and measures of variability, that is spread. So descriptive statistics is a very important point or very important part in the statistics, which describes about the data, and which we have to be go in a very sensitive manner, this descriptive statistics. And when you come to the, for example, when I say a central tendency, how to measure the central tendency? It means including the mean, median, mode. Measures of variability include standard deviation, variance, minimum and maximum variables, kurtosis and skewness is there. So this all comes in the descriptive statistics. When you come to the inferential statistics drawn conclusion from the sample and generalize for entire population. So when we are going to study about the sample and we are going to generalize on the entire population, see how much careful we have to be there. So these inferential statistics are often used to compare the difference between the treatment groups. Inferential statistics use measurements from the sample of subjects in the experiment to compare the treatment groups and make generalizations about the larger population of subjects. There are many types of inferential statistics, and each is approximate for a specific research design and sample characteristics. researchers should consult the numerous texts on experimental design and statistics to find the right statistical test for their experiment. However, most inferential statistics are based on the principle that a test statistic value is calculated on the basis of a particular formula. That value, along with the degrees of freedom, a measure related to the sample size and the rejection criteria, are used to determine whether differences exist between the treatment groups. The larger the sample size, the more likely a statistic is to include that differences exist between the treatment groups. Thus, the larger the sample of subjects, the more powerful the statistic is used to be. So this is the inferential statistics what we are going to see here. When you go in the descriptive statistics, IQR means interquartile range, are also used the mid spread, middle 50%, H spread. This type of things we are going to see in the descriptive statistics. Now, for example, I say difference between 75th and 25th percentiles. Okay, that is Q3 minus Q1 type. In other words, IQR is the third quartile subtracted from the first quartile. So these quartiles can be clearly seen on a box plot. Box plot is one of the thing where the statisticians are doing. Now these days in data science, this box plot are very important point. So people are using, statisticians and mathematicians are using that one. So that is the one part what we are going to use in this statistics. Okay. So summarizing data, measuring of central tendency, So what is the measuring of central tendency? Variability, visualizing data. This already I told you, that is visualization, variability and central tendency can be seen through what is including standard deviation, kurtosis, skewness, all the things can be seen. And visualization of data now these days, I think all of you know about the R program, R Studio. We are going to visualize the data in R Studio now these days to see what is going on there. Now, measure of central tendency, mean, median, mode. Already we know about this one. Average of data suited for continuous data with no outlier. Median, middle value of ordered data suited for continuous data with outlier. Mode is most occurring data suitable for categorically data. I think this everyone knows this mean, median, mode. This also play a very important role when we see about this central tendency, mean measure of the central tendency. Now, measure of variance is a range, interquartile range. I already told you interquartile range, IQR. IQR is a very important point. At the spread, mid spread means this is the mid spread. This is the spread what I am going to talk it here. This is the mid spread what I have mentioned, what I have told you that mid spread or H spread. Height spread means this one. This spread is the H spread. So mid spread, H spread, statistically dispersion. This all comes in IQR, that is interquartile range, variance, standard deviation. This all comes in this one. And when the people go for Six Sigma concepts or the Sigma concepts, the total thing here, this -3 and this +3, when we go in a Sigma study, quality part, then this is known as the total Six Sigma spread or Six Sigma concept. We use this graph, same normal curve graph for the Six Sigma concept. So measure of variance is another important point in which we are going to see the range, interquartile range, variance, standard deviation. Okay, visualizing continuous data. So visualizing part you can see in number of ways. One is the histogram, one is scattered plot. So when you see the histogram, this is the part. So when I say I go like this one, you draw this all nodes like this. If you get a normal curve, it is okay, fine. If it is nearer to the normal curve, something accepted. You see this one, blue one, then better than this one, then this is C. This is the C part of the graph. Okay, same thing, scattered plot, group 1 and group 2. Like this, we are going to divide it in the scattered plot. and you can visualize the total data here. Okay, visualizing continuous data, box plot. Just now I told you box plot is one of the part. This is the box plot where we visualize the data of the second part. Histogram. Histogram can be shown like this, bar chart. Like this, you can show it your data visualization or pie chart. What we are going to do now these days, this is from right from the beginning, we are using this bar chart and this pie chart. So like this, you can visualize the data, and this data is visualization is the discrete type of, see, this is not a continuous, this is discrete type of visualization. Okay, so that is the part what we are going to see, how the data can be visualization. Now, once the data you are going to visualize, then you have to decide what technique and what we have to do to study the data and to make it the generalization. Now, the probability distribution comes in picture when we go in the data science. So basics of probability, conditional probability, discrete probability function, continuous probability function, central limit theorem, this all comes in probability distribution. So basic probability, I think all of you know mathematics and statisticians, those who are in the engineering background or any degree background or school person, that probability of an outcome is number of outcomes with total number of equally likely outcomes. So this is for single event. When we go for two independent event, so PA and B can be given as PA star PB. Here in our data science part start, I am going to use. Otherwise, PA intersection PB, we are using in our mathematics. A or B means A union B, and we can go like that. So like this, in example, I have shown that head in first flip of probability, head in second flip of probability, that we can see by like this, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 minus 1 by 4. So this is the example when we see in the two events, probability of two independent events. Conditional probability is there. So this conditional probability speaks that when we give some condition that one should be occurred, already that should be happened. So that condition, when we put it, that is known as conditional probability, and probability of an event given the other event has occurred. So probability of event B given A has happened, that can be happened here, and probability of drawing 2 acres, 2 aces, for example, from the pack, that can be say that the condition is already 1 ace is pulled out. So that type of conditions, if you put it, it comes under conditional probability. Probability distribution now. The function describes the likelihood of obtaining possible values that a random variable can assume. For example, if you see the salary of the employee data, salary of employee data, we can create distribution of salary. Such a distribution is useful to know which outcome is more likely. Sum of probability of all outcome is 1. So every outcome has likelihood between 0 and 1. So between 0 and 1, you can distribute all the things. So what we are going to say, this probability distribution can be happened. And probability distribution function are divided into 2 types based on the data. What is that? Discrete type of distribution function, continuous type of distribution function. So when we say discrete type of distribution function, probability mass function for discrete data, binomial distribution for binary data, Poisson distribution for count data, uniform distribution for data with equal probability. So these are the parts when it comes to the discrete probability distribution function. When I say continuous type of data, probability mass function for continuous data, central tendency, variance, skewness, important parameters, normal probability distribution or Gaussian distribution or bell curve, log normal probability distribution. These are all the things comes in the continuous type of data. So when I say normal distribution, very, very powerful distribution and acceptable in all the industries and institutions and the total globe. And what you say, a very best distribution curve is a normal distribution curve. And the data science frequently use this normal distribution. So a probability function that describes how the values of a variable are distributed. This is symmetric type of distribution, mean and standard deviation. So when we talk about the mean and standard deviation notation, sigma term I already told you when we go in the sigma notation. So then it goes to the what is the left side and what is the right side. the total club, when you club, for example, -2 sigma or -2 and this side +2. So total is 4 sigma. 1 and 1, 2 sigma. 3 and 3 is 6 sigma. So 6 sigma goes under the quality type of thing. So this is a very good distribution what we use in the data science. So empirical rule of normal distribution, standard normal distribution, Z scores while distributing or while calculating the normal distribution, we are using this type of things. Descriptive statistics. When you come to the descriptive statistics, this is introduction, central tendency, data distribution, skewness, and correlation. So what is the inferential statistics? Introduction, hypothesis testing, confidence interval, regression analysis. When you go to the relationship between variables, chi-square test of independence, correlation and linear regression, analysis of variance, what is known as ANOVA. So analysis of variance, these are all the parts which the data science is going to be used, and data science is going to be doing that one. So this is the statistics, very basic statistics, what we are going to use it in the data science. When you come to the point, this part, what you say, linear algebra for data science, this is about the statistics part of the data science. So these are all what I have told you, just very basic part of the statistics, very basic statistics for the data science. And that base of the statistics is going to build build a very big data in the data science. So these are the very essential things which should be known to a person who is going to involve in the data analytics or data science. So this is the statistics part, what I have just shown you. Now the linear algebra part I will go, linear algebra for the data science. So when I say linear algebra for data science, the overall view is I will speak about the row and column spaces, rank of a matrix, rank and singularity, inner product, GS process, factorization, linear transformation and singularity, similar matrices, and then references. So let us see here. So before going to this one, I have used the word vectors in this one. What is vector here? So when in school days also, when I have studied the vector, the importance of the vector when I came and having the data analysis, that at that time I realized the power of that vector. So why that vector is powerful here? A quantity that has a magnitude and direction. What is vector? A quantity that has magnitude and direction, and that is commonly represented by a directed line segment whose length represents the magnitude and whose orientation in space represents the direction. Okay. Now that powerful basic thing we are going to use in this linear algebra, and this linear algebra plays a very important role in the total data science. For example, suppose I have taken a matrix, M cross N matrix, M rows and N columns. The rows of A considered as vector in Rn space span a subspace of Rn called the row space of A. Okay. Similarly, the columns of A considered as a vectors in Rm space, okay, span of subspace in Rm called the column space of A. If A and B are two M cross N row column equivalent matrices, then the row column spaces of A and B are equal. That is the thing what we are, this I am just now I just mentioned about the matrix in which M cross matrix is there, M rows and N columns. Now, the dimension of the row or column of A is called the row or column rank of A. Once again, the dimension of the row or column space of A is called the row or rank, row or column rank of A. The row rank and column rank of the M cross N matrix, whatever I have shown you, this matrix, this A matrix, that is Aij, are equal the row rank and column rank of M cross N matrix A equals to so and so are equal. Okay. Now, rank and singularity, when you see here, the rank and singularity, A is non-singular. Ax equals to 0 has only the trivial solution. A is row or column equivalent to identity In. For every vector B in Rn, the system Ax equals to B has a unique solution. Determinant of A not equals to 0. The rank of A is N. The rows of A form a linearly independent set of vectors in Rn. The columns of A form a linearly independent set of vectors in Rn. Now, here, when we use a term, I will show you example. When we use a term, ordered tuple of numbers, ordered tuple of an element. So what is vector? Vector, we can say, is a one element of a vector space. One vector space is there. A vector is one element of a vector space. Now, ordered tuple of numbers in mathematics, a tuple is a finite ordered list of elements, and n tuple is a sequence or ordered list of n elements where n is a non-negative integer. There is only one zero tuple which is referred to as the empty tuple, and n tuple is defined inductively using the construction of an ordered pair. And what is vector space? When we come to say a vector space also called a linear space, and is a set of objects called vectors which may be added together and multiplied by numbers called scalars. Scalars are often taken to be real numbers, but there are also vector space with scalars multiplication by complex numbers, rational numbers, or generally any field. The operations of vector addition, scalar, multiplication must satisfy certain requirements that already we know in that one. What are the rules and what should be satisfied? All vector axioms should be satisfied. To specify that the scalars are real or complex numbers, the term real vector space and complex vector space, we called it. Okay. Now, in this one, for example, suppose A is a matrix. I talked about the basis, column basis, row space, column space, row space. A is a matrix. And now find the following. The question is a basis from the column space of A and its dimension I have to find. Similarly, a basis for the row space of A and its dimension I have to find. It's a very simple part, but see, the simple part for us, for mathematicians, but when we see in the data science part, it's a very useful. Therefore, what is my request that please go through this linear algebra, this matrices part carefully. Let us see the solution of this one. I will show you. The matrix is going to be reduced and reduced by some operations. Already you know, when we go with the operations, we are reducing this matrix to this one. So the last row is zeros. Now, the column space of A is spanned by the vector. Which vector? This 102 transpose. 102 transpose. See here. This 102 transpose is this one. 102 transpose. And minus 1, 1, minus 1. This one. Minus 1, 1, minus 1. This one. Transpose. These vectors are linearly independent. Linearly independent. And the set you are going to form is a basis for this space. This is the basis for this space and its dimension is 2. What does it mean? So I can do a miracle with this one. See, this is the matrix. This is the basis of the space. I can generate a space whose dimension is 2. Why dimension is 2? Because non-zero rows are 2 here. So dimension is 2. This is column space. Now, the row space of A is spanned by the vector 1, 0, 2, 4, minus 3. That is this one. And 0, 1, 0, 4, 0. That is final this one. These vectors are also linearly independent. And this is going to form a basis for the space, for this space. And dimension is 2. Dimension in both the case 2. But see here, beauty. This is the basis. This is the basis. Both the space. you can generate a space from this. See the beauty here. But when we deal with the matrix as a mathematician, we are going to say, okay, whether it is reduced or not, what is going on? Okay, fine, the rank is 2, or we can say dimension is 2, that's all. But see the beauty here, this basis, with this basis, I can create a space where the tremendous work can be done. And the same this basis, I can create a space for this space, and I can forecast about. It means if I read about these two, I can forecast about that one, and I can forecast about the entries or the elements, or you can say about the data that is going on here. Okay, so inner product space. When we say about the inner product space, okay, one term I have used here, linearly independent. So I think all of you know here the linearly independency. In the theory of vector space, a set of vectors is said to be linearly dependent if there is a non-trivial linear combination of the vectors that equals to 0 vector. If no such linear combination exists, then vectors are said to be linearly independent. Otherwise, it is linearly dependent. Okay. These concepts are central to the definition of dimension. Definition of dimension. Basis of the vector space. Basis of the vector space means a set of vectors, suppose a set B of vectors in a vector space V is called a basis if every element of V can be written in a unique way as a finite linear combination of elements of P. A vector space can have several bases. However, all the bases have the same number of elements called the dimension of the vector space. See here, the dimension of the vector space is 2. But you can have several bases. That is the beauty in this one. And these several bases play a very important role in your machine learning part. Machine learning part, what you say now these days, intelligence, artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep learning, big data, data analysis. This plays a very important role in this one because several bases are there. We are going to see which base we are going to use and how we are going to use that one. That is the importance what we are going to see here. Okay. Now, inner product space. So when I say inner product space, suppose V be a real vector space, and inner product on V is a function that assigns to each ordered pair. For example, suppose U and V are two elements in V. I say this is UV satisfies the following properties. What is that? UV greater than equals to 0. When you say inner product is 0, if and only if U0, this properties is going to satisfy, then we are going to say V is a vector space and V is inner product space. Otherwise, no. A real vector space that has an inner product defined on it is called inner product space. In the space, if the space is finite dimensional, it is called Euclidean space. Very, very important point, Euclidean space. What is Euclidean space? In geometry, a 2 or 3 dimensional space in which the axioms and postulates of Euclidean geometry apply. That is Euclidean space. Also, a space is in any finite number of dimensions in which points are designated by coordinates, one for each dimension, and the distance between 2 points is given by a distance formula. That is Euclidean space. So this Euclidean space is very important when we deal with the vector space, when we deal with the data science. In an inner product space, we defined what is the inner norm of U. For example, norm of U, this is norm of U is square root of inner product U and U. So this is like this, we are going to see the length. Norm means scalar quantity. Length we are going to see. So GS process, before going to the GS process, I want to tell you something here. So the organizers, please, can I write on this one? Please, organizers. Hello. Hello. I am audible. Hello.
Audible, sir.
Yeah. Please, can I connect and can I show me? Can I show the something I write on the board? Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So please allow me. I will
Okay,
right
sir.
on my board. Okay,
You can
please.
continue.
Yeah. So just a minute. I will open one word. Yeah. Please give me 2 minutes time. That's all. Yeah, whether it is visible,
Sir, it's not visible, sir.
not visible. Wait.
Only
wait.
it is dark.
No.
uh,
Just a minute. It is visible.
now visible, sir. Screen
No,
is visible, but which we are writing,
No,
sir, it's not.
no. Now it is visible.
No,
It
sir,
is
only dark.
Wait. I have to go in that one because I have shared the total. If I share the total screen, it will be visible. Wait, please. The medium. It is visible, madam. Madam, it is visible.
No, sir. No, sir.
No,
No, sir.
I have shared just now. Visible?
Now visible, sir.
Yeah, visible. So fine.
Whiteboard.
So
Yeah.
I will use now.
Sir, you can.
Yeah. So here, when I say that orthogonality, I will speak on the orthogonality before going to the GS thing. What we are going to use here, two vectors are orthogonal if they are perpendicular to each other. So what we say, two vectors are orthogonal if they are perpendicular to each other. That is, dot product of two vectors is 0. When we say both are orthogonal, suppose V is a part. Suppose we say here that I will use pen. Vi dot Vj, okay, is equals to 0. This is vector. Vi dot Vj equals to 0 for all I not equals to j. I not equals to j. Okay, this is the rule when we say orthogonal vectors. Now come to the point. The set of vectors, I will give three vectors, that is 1, 0, -1, comma, 1, √2 and 1. And third one is 1 minus √2, 1. Like this. Okay. Now the question is, does these three set of vectors are mutually orthogonal? That is my claim. Mutually orthogonal means when you take a dot product of these two, this and this vector, you will get 0. When you take a dot product of any two in this 3, you will get 0. This is known as orthogonal vectors. These are mutually orthogonal. Now the next point we are going to say, a set of vector is orthonormal. When it is orthonormal, if every vector in S has magnitude 1 and the set of vectors are mutually orthogonal. Set of vectors mutually orthogonal and the magnitude should be 1. For example, if I take a same example here, suppose this is V1, okay, this is V2, this is V3, three vectors are there. Now, whether we are, so these are mutually orthogonal, it's fine. Now I have to check whether there are these vectors are orthonormal or not. If I want to see whether this is orthonormal or not, I have to go, or I have to normalize this vector. What is that normalization? I will say u1 is a vector, normalized vector, v1 by mod v1. Similarly, u2 vector, v2 by mod v2. Similarly, u3 vector, v3 by mod v3. So what I'm going to say, this is, if you say this part, mod of v1 means, for example, v1 is square root of 1 plus 1, 2, 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2. So u1 vector is now another vector, u2 vector is another vector, u3 vector is another vector. Now this set of vectors, means, this set of vectors means, I will show you. This set of vectors means, for example, I say this part, u1, okay, u2, u3. This set of vectors is orthonormal. This is orthonormal. This is orthonormal. It means orthogonal, and each vector in S has a magnitude 1. Each vector in this set S has a magnitude 1 and orthogonal. Very beautiful concept. We generally read and we generally study that this is going to be happen in the mathematics, but when we see the application part in the data science, very powerful application is going to be happen in this one. So like this, we are going to say orthogonal and orthonormal part of so and so. So here, what we are going to say, an orthogonal set of non-zero vector is linearly independent. Now the question is GS process. Just now what I have told you. What is GS process? GS process says, given a set of linearly independent vectors, it is often used to convert them into an orthogonal set of vectors. It means linearly independent vectors are not, linearly independent vectors are there, but we are going to convert them into an orthonormal set of vectors. Because orthonormal set of vectors we are going to use for different purpose. Okay, so like that, what GS Gram-Schmidt process says, if u and v, u and v, u and v vectors are there, suppose two vectors, the projection of vector v on u is defined by, what is that? Projection u on v is defined by v u, okay, by mod u square and u. This is the GS process. So projection of vector v on u is defined as follows. After this projection, what we are going to do? So after this projection, we can construct a orthogonal to u. For example, better I describe with example how you can get it, this one. So what we are going to do here, for example, suppose I say one vector v is 1 1 and the another vector u is 1 0. Like these two vectors are there. These two vectors are linearly independent, but orthogonal are not orthogonal to each other. These two vectors are not orthogonal to each other. But I want to create one orthogonal vector. In which manner? In the following manner. What is that manner? V1 I want to create, which is equals to V minus projection of U on V So projection of u on v can be calculated. Just now we have given, that is projection of u on v. In this case, 1 into 1 plus 1 into 0 divided by square root of 1 square plus 0 square whole square. Okay, and into 1 0. This is the projection formula what I have written just previous. So in this way, what we are going to say, this projection value, what is the value? This value is, you can say 1 1 0, that is 1 0, right? This is 1 0. Now I will rub this one and I will say so V1, now V1 is going to be formed. What is V1? 1 1 minus 1 into 1 0. What is this one? This is equals to 0 1. Now V1 thus constructed, which is the constructed part now? The constructed part or constructed vector is this one. This one is the constructed vector, 0 1, this one. This one is the constructed vector. This constructed vector is orthogonal to u. Orthogonal to u. What is u? U is already given in the question. What is that? 1 0. Now this u, this whatever we have constructed is orthogonal to this one. Previously it was not orthogonal. There was only linearly independent vectors. So this is the beauty. This is the beauty in this one. Like this, what GS Gram-Schmidt algorithm speaks, like this, if you have V1, V2, Vn be a set of n in linearly independent vectors in Rn space, then we can construct an orthogonal set of vectors. We can construct an orthonormal set of vectors. That is the GS rule. For example, not time, otherwise I can show this step by step for this one. For example, if you take 3 by 3 for normalization, orthonormalization. So this is the thing what I want to say, that GS process in this total orthogonality or orthonormal or two linearly independent vector, and we can make it orthonormal vector. So this all things are going to be make study in our data science, and this data science, can I remove now this one, please? I will remove this one. I removed. Is it visible, madam?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Visible?
Now your screen is not visible, sir.
No, no, I am going to my screen, please. Now it is
Now it's,
visible?
yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's visible, sir.
Yeah, please,
Okay, sir.
please.
Okay.
I will go to the full screen now, because just now I have changed to that one. Okay? Visible? Okay. So
Okay,
this GS process, what we have seen just now. Now I am going to speak about this one, the inner product space, and this is the m-dimensional subspace of V. Then there exists an orthonormal basis, or we can create one orthonormal basis for W. That is the this total theory. And let S be any basis for W. Construct an orthonormal basis. How to construct? This is by using this one, we are going to construct the orthonormal or orthogonality of this one. So GS process speaks about this one. Just now what I have shown you, writing the things and showing how we are going to create. Now the physical interpretation of that one is this one. Like this, we can make it the GS process in the data science, and it's a very beautiful output you can see. We can look for a next vector. V1 you can create, V2 you can create, V3 you can create, V4 you can create. Like that we can go on creating this type of vectors in by using this projections or GS process. Okay. And here you see, for example, this is the thing. Now you are going to create here V2 is created. Now see here, V2 is like this. Now we are going to use U2, this one. Then we can go for V3. Like this, it is going on continuously. It is going on increasingly. For example, I will show you one example here. So GS process to find orthonormality for 3 by 3 suppose 1110 T transpose. U2, U3 is there. These three are the vectors. So let V1 is U1 and then we can go for V2. V2 can be found by this one. And by this operation, we say V2, we got it like this. Okay, this is V2. Now, V3 can be go like this. This is V3. Again, we can go for V4, V5 if needed, but here I stopped with V1, V2, V3. Now this V1, V2, V3, these three vectors an orthogonal basis. The previous one U1, U2, U3 is not a orthogonal basis, but here V1, V2, V3 an orthogonal basis. And from this, when I say orthonormal, what we have to do? We have to divide it by the norm. We have to divide it by the norm of each vector. So orthonormal basis is this one. So orthogonal basis, orthonorm. What is the beauty here? We have created a basis which is orthogonal, but you doesn't have any orthogonal basis. You have just linearly independent vectors, and you have created a orthogonal basis. And from that orthonormal basis, that you have done here. Now, next is factorization. Next is factorization. What we do here, in factorization, what we do in the factorization, if A is an M cross N matrix with linearly independent columns, then A can be factored. So any matrix A can be factored as Q into R. For example, 2. What is Q and what is R? Q is a matrix of M into N and R is a matrix with N into A, because when you multiply both, you should get A. So what is about Q, what is about R, that is important here. Q is an M cross N matrix whose columns form an orthonormal basis for the column space. What is R? N cross N non-singular upper triangular matrix. So here, the important point what we say is, any matrix, for example, what we are doing, one matrix, we send it as an input to the machine, and that matrix within the machine, we are going to write a code such that it should divide into two matrices. For example, factorization, Q into R. One Q is going to work with the another one, and R is going to work with the other one. Q is going to combine with other one, and application part is going to be have something different. R is going to be meet with other and having the application part. And again, when you come the output as output, you will get again A. That is, QR will again simplify. That is, again, you can get it the same thing. For example, suppose I want a factorization of this matrix 1 minus 1 1 1 0 0 1 minus 1 0 and 0 1 1. Suppose define the column of A as a vectors U1, U2, U3. So what I have found orthonormal basis by using the norm. So W1, W2, W3 is there by dividing the norm. It means square root of 1 plus 1, 1 square plus 1 square plus 1 square, that is 3. In second case, square root of this one, that is W2 is going to be formed. The similar case, W3. Orthonormal basis for the column space of A, not A, column space of A. Okay, like this, W1, W2, W3. Now, what is Q? Q is formed from that one, and R is formed from R11, R12, R1. That is upper triangular. Upper triangular means the main diagonal element below elements are all 0. And this R and Q, if you see, the original matrix is different. And if you see, these two matrices are different. Okay, and see, it means from one matrix you have created two properties, and these properties play a very important role in the machine learning part. These two are going to combine with any other parts and make a beauty. So that is why this factorization, we are going to use it here. And when you say the inner product means, I think all of you know scalar product, or sometimes the inner product operation that combines two vectors to form. And here orthogonality means what? Perpendicularity. When we say perpendicularity in geometry to the linear algebra of bilinear forms, so in vector space we say orthogonal, form an orthogonal basis, orthogonality. So dot product is 0. Okay, that is this one. And the linear transformation now. Once the orthogonality, orthonormal, everything is finished, now come to the linear transformation. A mapping L V to W is said to be linear transformation or a linear operation when it satisfies all these three properties. That is, L of alpha V1 plus beta V2 is scalar time of this one, and the scalar time of L2. Or L of V1 plus V2 is like this, or L of alpha V is alpha times L. So if these three properties is satisfied, any mapping satisfies these three properties, we say that mapping is a linear transformation. Linear transformation means it transforms from one place to another, but it is linearly. For example, suppose Lx is given as 3x, x is in R square, that is 2 dimension. So Lx plus y and Lx alpha x both are going to satisfy. So we are going to say Lx, that is 3x, is a linear transformation where alpha is a positive scalar. Alpha x can be thought of as stretching or shrinking. For example, if alpha is 100, it stretches. If alpha is 1/2, it's shrinking. So stretch and shrink can be done here. So in machine learning, when we give to the machine the internal part is going to be a very powerful with this one. What is going on inside, we doesn't know. For example, you are using a cell phone. What is happening inside, we doesn't know. No, you are only using calling, taking, all applications you have used. But what is happening inside, that is not known to. So these are the things what is happening in now these days: machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, big data, data analytics. So this linear transformation, or I can say a linear transformation is a function from one vector space to another that respects the underlying linear structure of each vector space. A linear transformation is also known as a linear operator or map. The range of the transformation may be same as the domain, and when that happens, the transformation is known as an endomorphism or invertible or an automorphism. Okay, or if suppose invertible, we say automorphism, otherwise endomorphism. A two vector space must have the same underlying field. So these are the properties when you go in deep in this field, you can see. So this is another example. Suppose Lx is x1 e1, x is in R square. At that time, alpha x plus beta y can be written like this: alpha x1 plus beta y1, alpha x2 plus beta y2. This is the thing. If you see the linear transformation, see projection onto the x1. This is x2, this is x1. So this is the projection of this one on x1 axis. This is x1. So this Lx is x1 even. This is very powerful mathematics which the people are using, and they are going to say that we are a computer science people, we are doing. No, the total behind this one is a linear algebra. You please note down. The total behind that one is a linear algebra. And when you go in deep, the combination of linear algebra, statistics, and Euclidean space, or you can say contour methods, that is the importance in that one. So if we know the basic things of this one, we can play with the data. So L is a linear transformation, a projection onto the x1 axis. This is the projection. So this is another example what I shown, that it's a linear transformation. We can transform to the linear part. Another example, suppose x2 x1 transpose. Now see here, the transform, this is the previous one. Now it is transformed to 90 degree. So we have transformed. N is a linear transform. It has the effect of rotating. It means within the machine, there is a power which can rotate. For example, the rotating cameras are there now these days. How the cameras are rotating? By this only. No one is going to rotate there. It is a fix and it is going on internally and the camera is going to rotate. Why? Because the linear transformation part is given to that machine and its effects of rotating each vector in R square by 90 degree, counterclockwise direction, clockwise direction, like that. Whatever input we are going to give, according to that one, it is going to work. So this is X, this is LX, right? So like this, you can see the transformation part. Now, suppose this example says it's not a linear transformation. Why it is not a linear transformation? Counter example I have given. Suppose mx I say x1 square plus x2 square root. R square to R is a mapping. So if you see the properties, this property is going to be fail. Alpha mx is not equals to m alpha x. Why this property fails? Therefore, this m is not a linear transformation. This m is not a linear transformation. So that we are going to decide whether it is linear transformation or not. Now, one-to-one transformation, linear one-to-one transformations, a linear transformation L from V to W is called one-to-one. If it is a one-to-one function, that is, if V1 not equals to V2 implies LV1 not equals to LV2, then we say a equivalence, or suppose V1 equals to V2, LV1 equals to V2, this implies the linear transformation is one-to-one. For example, see, this is F is one-to-one. This is not one-to-one. Why this is not one-to-one? Because both are going to be related to the same. Fs1 is equal to Fs2, but S1 not equals to S2. This contradicts this one. Okay. And this is the first one. V1 not equals to V2, Fs1 not equals to Fs2. Right. This is a one-to-one. So this is one-to-one linear transformation. Onto transformation. If LV to W is the linear transformation of a vector. Now see here, in machine learning, in data science, see, this total can be mapped to this one, or this total can be mapped to this one. Why? Linear transformation of a vector space V into the vector space W. Just now I told you, the range of L or image of V under L denoted by range consists of all those vectors in W that are images under L of vectors in V. So this linear transformation L is called onto if range L is equals to W. For example, this is onto. This is not onto. Why this is not onto? Because this is vacant here. Not in the image of F. This dot is not in the image of F. But F, when you see here, this total is the image of F. See here. So therefore, this linear transformation is onto, and we call it as linear onto transformation. Every point, every word is listened by you when you have studied in either degree classes or PG classes or in your PhD, somewhere you have seen. But see the importance of this one, the total can be transformed. The total can be transformed here. When we say we go in the machine learning part, artificial intelligence part, or big data, data analytics part, we use these all things. Okay. And linear transformation and singularity. So A is non-singular. When A is non, have a trivial solution equivalent to In. This all things we already seen. Determinant A is not equals to 0. The rank of A is N. The rows of A form a linearly independent set of vectors in Rn. The columns of A form a linearly independent set of vectors in Rn. The linear transformation L Rn to Rn defined by so and so is one-to-one and onto. These are all things what we have seen here. Okay. So now the thing is similar matrix. Very, very powerful part. See, any matrix A, I can represent if A and B are two matrix, suppose N cross N, B is similar to A, but I can put B in parts of P inverse AP, where P is another matrix, P inverse is another matrix, but the total combination P inverse AP is a B matrix. It means any matrix I can divide into P inverse, A and P. See the beauty here. And this P inverse have a different type of quality which is going to work. This P have a different type of quality. This A have a different type of quality. So this going to split and work their properties to the machine, multidimensional, multitask, and give a common output which we want. That is the beauty here. So we use this part, similar type of thing, similar type of matrix to get it. What is that? Similar, when we say similar, when both ranks are equal. Okay. For example, if you see the example, R3 to R3 is defined like this. This is a matrix. This is P. This is P inverse. So if I say P inverse AP, this is a B matrix. B matrix is P inverse AP. Both are same. But A is here, this one, B is this one. So P inverse AP done a beauty, and they got it, this A and B matrix. Very powerful operation when we say we use this one. So this is the thing what our mathematics and statistics we are going to use in the data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data analytics, big data, deep learning, lot of things. So for example, when I say data science, so data science is just like a corona vaccine. Everyone talks about it. Everyone, if you ask anyone, they speak about data science, but nobody really knows how to do it now. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing something. Suppose I say that some people are doing data science. Yes, they are doing. So everyone claims that they are doing it. Just like vaccine, everyone is vaccinated. What is vaccine? How it works? No one is knows. But everyone, he is vaccinated. I also have to vaccinate, and I am going to take my vaccine within a time or with recommendation before a time, such that I can say that I have vaccinated. So same thing here. So these are the things what I want to speak in this application part. And this application part is a very powerful and very beauty. So I request all of you that please please go in this field, that is application part, and see the beauty of this one. So this is my talk, today's talk. Now I ask the listeners or the participants, please interact or please share your what are the experience in this field, such that we can discuss. For that, I have given you the time. This therefore I stopped some 5-10 minutes before, such that I can interact with you. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Yes, the organizers. Organizers, please.
Sir?
Yeah, please ask the participants.
Yes, sir.
Anyone? Yeah, please.
Sir, any queries from the participant side? Hello? Any queries from participant side? No questions?
No, there should be a question because number of participants are there. Please don't think that this is a question. You please share your experience also. It's not a big issue because a lot of things we have discussed and a lot of things you are doing. So what is your experience while doing this all things you have done, but unknowingly you don't know what is the use of this one. But now you have listened to this one. Please tell me the experience, how you are going to use this one, please.
I request participant to share.
Yes.
Hello?
Anyone? You please unmute, madam. I think they are all in mute.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, please.
Sir, I am Basavaraj from Karnataka.
Yeah, please.
Sir, in linear algebra,
Mhm.
using that concept, which textbook is best for the data science related?
No. See, there is no textbook about data science. Data science is a multidisciplinary field. Data science is not related to any one field. So the application of mathematics parts, application linear, for example, linear algebra, whatever we have studied in our degree and PG, that is sufficient for the data science. But the thing is, we have to see in the application part. We have to see in the application part that, for example, how GS Gram-Smith projection or Gram-Smith program is going to be used for the data science. That we have to see. That's all. You don't think that there is a very specific book for the data science. If you take a data science book, then also you can see only these all things. Nothing
But relate how to by research papers we will collect the related area, related matter. How collect the related matter for the data science and linear algebra combined.
See, in data science, when you talk about the linear algebra part, so
Yeah.
linear algebra part, you start from the matrix. Matrix, you can take any textbook, you know all the properties of matrix, right?
Sir,
No,
sir,
listen, please.
yeah.
Please, when I talk that there is a matrix, upper triangular, lower triangular, this everything is in a matrix, am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Now, when I say it is going to be a factorization, so
Yeah.
that P inverse AP is there in vectors, matrices, am I
Yes.
right? Orthogonality, orthonormality is there,
Yeah.
am I right? Now the thing is, GS theorem is there, Gram-Smith theorem is there, am I right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if
sir,
there
yes.
is a linearly independent vector, how to make it orthogonal, orthonormal? That part we are seeing as a mathematics when we do a mathematics, but don't see it as a mathematics. You see that how it can be applicable to the application part, to the engineering part. That is the beauty. The book is same. Now, for example, suppose I want a matrix which is going to be attached to some control system, but you have another matrix. That matrix, if I am going to split into P inverse AP, then this P inverse is going to use that one. That what I will do, I will not disturbing the matrix, but I am going to make an equivalent matrix P inverse AP such that that P inverse is working with that one. So that thing is needed here. That thing is needed here. That is important, and some part projection part. So when I say projection of a vector on this one, so linear projection, dimensionally projection, these concepts if you use, that is much then more sufficient for the data science, and that is needed. And how to apply that, you have to see the engineering part, and you see how beauty we can give as an input, because we give only input. The rest of the things machine will take care. So while programming, how to give the input, that knowledge should be with us. That is the only mantra for this data science for regarding linear algebra. When this linear algebra you are going to combine with the statistics part, so fundamental of statistics is needed, what I have shown you. So that statistics part and this part, if you know very well, it means some 20% or 25% of the data science part is you have with you, the concept. Then we are going to use how data is going to analyze, how data is going to visualize, how data, that is the what you say box plot, or what we say EDA, exploratory of data, that comes now in the further part. Okay, so that is going on now these days.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, please.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Buhari Abdullah, calling from Nigeria.
Yeah, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Fine. Yeah, please.
So I have a question regarding the algebraic structure, sir.
Yeah, algebraic structure. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The application of this algebraic structure on the data analysis.
Yes.
So
Very good.
are they all going to, because some as if they have a theoretical applications.
Yeah.
But the practical application, are they also possible, sir, in database? That's my question.
Now, see, when you say algebraic structure, so algebraic structure that we can prepare the structure according to our study. So algebraic structure means all in and out should be known to us. All in and out should be known to us. For example, in algebraic structure, which type of structure and what we need to apply. On which case? It is
Okay,
case by case, case by case.
Okay, let me take for instance group.
Yeah, regional group, right? Yes.
Group, yes.
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, from the properties of the metrics that you have mentioned, sir, the non-linear
Matrix diagonalization. Yeah, no, it should be non-linear. Yeah.
Yes, the matrices can give the matrix has satisfied the group properties.
Yeah, definitely.
Then I said, from there,
No.
would that have? Yes, it's non-linear. Since it is non-linear, it has an inverse.
No. So therefore, what we do for this type of study, all non-linearity part, we are going to convert into the linear part. For example, just now I shown you there is a vector which is linearly independent. Linearly independent vectors are there, but not orthogonal and orthonormal. We are going to make that vectors as orthogonal and orthonormal and to use that one. For example, some data is that which is not a normal distribution, but we make it as a normal distribution and study that data. Similarly here, if we have a non-linear type of structure, we try to make it linear and without making a difference in the case. And then we are going to study and then we are going to forecast. The output will be the non-linear, but we can't study about the non-linear. We are going to convert into linear. We study it that one and then we speak about the result and then we say, so this is the structure and this should be happen in that case. So that we are going to do in this one.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other participants? Any other participants? Any questions? Sir, I think no doubts and no queries from participant side, sir.
Yes, please. Madam.
Hello.
Yeah, me, please, madam.
So I think no questions from participant side, sir.
Okay, fine. So, please.
So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your elaborative description about the data science. That is the statistics which are used in data science. And you have given a clear idea about the qualitative data and measure of variance.
Madam, excuse me. Some people are chatting. You can please see the chart.
Can you give one of the application of? Yeah, sir. One second, sir.
Please,
Before this, it was not there. Can you give one of the application of GS process in machine learning, sir?
Yeah, so that is the application I have given. GS process means the important point is if linearly independent vectors are there, but I want to make it, I want to use the orthogonal and orthonormal vectors for the machine. So at that time, I am going to use this GS process to create a new vector which is orthogonal. So this GS process says whatever vector is the output, it should be orthogonal. So I need an orthogonal vector and I am going to use the GS process to make it that orthogonal vector to multiply or to use in some machines or to use in with some other vector to have some different type of activity. So that is the application part. Therefore, I have shown you how the mathematicians can make that vector and how it can be used. Yeah, madam.
No more questions in the chat box, sir.
Sir.
Yeah,
okay, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Sir, is there any relation principal component analysis to linear algebra?
Yeah, PCI. Yeah, PCI is a very, very important. The total decomposition. We use there the vector matrix decomposition, or you can say vector decomposition. We are going to use in this one. It's a very what you say good things. What we are going to see in this PCI. You are talking about PCI, right?
Yeah.
Principal component analysis, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, that principal component analysis, very beauty, that there is no doubt. It's a very known, what you say, known part or known thing, what we are going to see in this one. So there is no doubt. So principal component analysis is totally dependent on this linear algebra. No
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. Is there any related material or textbook or how to start the process for the link? The
Which
material
one?
or
No,
yeah,
process for which part?
a link between linear algebra and principal component analysis.
Matrices. No. See, what is principal component analysis? Principal component analysis says orthogonalization of a vectors, orthogonalization of a matrix, and then we are going to make it upper triangular and lower triangular matrix. Then upper triangular matrix and lower triangular matrix are going to use in PCI. So, so what our mathematics people say, any matrix is given by some engineer, that we are going to make it into this upper triangular and lower triangular according to their need, and we will throw it to them. They can use it, that part, to the principal component analysis, PCI, image processing and PCI, they are using this one. So the main part is decomposition. What you say, matrix decomposition, how to make it upper triangular and lower triangular, how to make it a matrix. One matrix has a three part, three have a different property. See, the basic matrix is same, but the produced from that matrix parts behave like a different when it going to join with another one. That is PCI, principal component
Okay.
analysis.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
One more question, sir. Where
Yeah,
can
please.
we use mathematics in software part of artificial intelligence and machine learning, sir?
The total mathematics and statistics is the backbone of AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. There is no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But I can't speak that only this part we can use. Right from zero to infinity, we are going to use that one. There is no doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
Same questions. Can you give one of the important application of GS process in machine learning, sir? One more question, sir.
Yeah, in machine learning. No, they see.
You have told it, sir.
No. In machine learning, I use a matrix. I use which type of matrix? Orthogonal or orthonormal, but it is not available. So what I do, I use GS process to make it orthogonal and orthonormal matrix, and I use in the machine learning.
Machine.
That is the application part.
Okay. Okay, sir. Any more questions? I think no questions, sir.
Okay.
You can post in the chat box if you have any doubts. I think no questions, sir.
Okay.
So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So first, I have to say I thank Yogi Vamana University authorities and Department of Mathematics for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you, that application part of the linear algebra and statistics. Thank you very much to the organizers. Right.
Thank you very much, sir. So we know that means students will learn about this algebra, that is matrices, all those things they
Yeah,
will do in
definitely.
degree, but
Yes.
they don't know how to apply it for computers or for the other.
Yes. The
field.
teachers are responsible also. Teachers
Yeah,
also
we have
have
to
speak
motivate
this.
them.
Yeah,
So these
no.
are the application part. You can.
Yeah, we have to speak the application part of that
Yes,
part.
yes,
Yes.
Yes, sir. So you have given very nicely the application part of all these things, sir. And it is not an online. We think it is just like an offline, lively. We have seen your teaching, sir, because you have given so many examples on the whiteboard, and you have written all those things. So very nicely you have presented, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and be a resource person for this program.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can I leave now? Okay, thank you to all of you. Can I leave now?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, sir.
much. Thank you.
I thank all the participants for maintaining silence throughout the session. And I wish all the participants have enjoyed the session. And we'll meet tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. sharply. Okay, thank you, one and all. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Madam, the link is not working, madam. Hello, madam. The link is not working, madam.
Link is working, ma. You will have
No,
some blue color continue will be there, no? If you click on continue, it will be opened.
No, ma'am.
Working,
Even
ma'am,
after
working.
clicking on, even after clicking on that, it's not working.
Oh, yes, sir. So many people were, they have filled their feedback link on that only. It's working. Please try again. Please click on continue. It will work. Because of some network problem, it may be not working at that time, at that moment. Please try after some time, after 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
It is working, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, we'll meet tomorrow by 2:30 sharp. Now I'm winding up the session. Thank you.